Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 3. Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a good day. We will be starting in about 38 seconds. Make sure my camera is on and that it is focusing. Awesome. There we go. I hope you're having a good day. I'm just doing one last thing that I actually forgot to do. There we go. I'm putting the link to the question form into the description. That's done. Good. Yes, we will be starting in. Oh, there's like a little spoiler there. You saw one of the first words. Here we go. Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson about nature verbs. You might think it's a bit of a strange lesson, but nature is something that I really enjoy. I spend a lot of time outside. I spend a lot of time outdoors. And when I was outdoors this past week, I noticed a lot of sounds and motions and actions. I noticed that nature does things. Sometimes it drizzles. That's what we say when it's just raining lightly. Sometimes you will see the earth erode after it rains. I'll explain a bit more about that later in the lesson. So I thought to myself, I think I can put together a lesson about verbs related to nature. Sometimes you'll hear water babbling or crashing against the shore and other things like that. So once again, welcome to this English lesson about nature verbs. I hope you enjoy it. Hey, before we get started, let me just double check a few things. Let me first of all say hi to a bunch of people in the chat. Hi to Key Park, Lolly Lolly, Freddie Wolf, Karunuyan, Abzab, Derzak, Shai. I'm sorry if I say your name wrong. Juan, know that. Let's see here. Masood, Faribles, Mbarak. Unsel is here as well. Good to see all of you. Hi, Ralph. And many, many more familiar names. CS Team as well. Denny. I think Ruslan was here earlier as well. Yep, there's Ruslan. So hi to all of you. Good to see you this morning. I hope you're ready to learn a little bit of English. Let me check. My audio looks good. My audio sounds great. Hey, a few things though before I get started. If you do have a question, please use the link that Nightbot shares in the chat. If you are a member, you can also type !link and then Nightbot will share the link again. Please don't ask questions directly in the chat. It's a little challenging for me to sort through and see questions there. It's nicer if you use the form. But do definitely use the chat for fun and enjoyable English conversations. Get to know some of the regulars here and just practice your reading and writing while you're listening to me practicing your listening. In the chat, Ruslan says, Ruslan is always here. Good to see you, Ruslan. Let's see here. Yeah, I think we're ready to get started. I think you will enjoy this lesson. Are you guys ready? Let me have a sip of water and we will get started. Hi, Wanda, by the way. To rustle. So the other day, it was windy outside and I was under a tree recording a video. And I noticed that I could hear the wind rustling in the leaves. Sometimes when it's windy, it causes the leaves to rustle. When we use the verb rustle, it means when other things as well, but in particular, when leaves are kind of rubbing against each other in the wind, and it makes the rustling sound. I just realized I might have to do some sound effects. I'm not, it's like, that's not really rustling, but it sounds a little bit like that. You can see here that as the leaves move in the wind, maybe this is a better, sounds a little more like that. The leaves will rustle. To flutter. So if you have ever seen a butterfly or a moth, you might see them flutter. When we use the verb to flutter, it means to fly, but not necessarily in a straight line. If a butterfly flutters, it kind of lands and then it goes over here and then it flies this way and that way. So it's kind of like the butterfly is flying randomly. So it doesn't fly from point A to point B. It kind of flutters over here and it goes over here and it goes over here. So we have seen a lot of moths fluttering about lately. I think all of the little worms that were in our flower field earlier this year have now turned into moths, and they are starting to flutter around the field. To howl. So there's two ways to use this verb. For me, I always think of, well, either a wolf or a winter storm. Let me explain the two. So a wolf will howl like, ow. That is a wolf howl. That's my best impression of a wolf. But sometimes the wind in the winter blows so hard that it will howl. So you might be laying in bed trying to sleep at night and you just hear the wind howling. Sometimes it keeps Jen and I up late at night when the wind howls all night. Not a very nice time at all. To lap. So if you ever go to the ocean or if you go to a lake where there are waves, when really small waves hit the shore, we say that they are lapping against the shore. So they kind of go. Sound effects are awful this morning, but this is not a wave. It's like a really, really tiny amount of water hitting rocks on the shore. And so we would say the water is lapping. You know, if the wind blows a little bit, it will make the water lap against the shore or lap against the rocks. So a very gentle, soothing sound. I actually really enjoy the sound of water lapping. I think it's a very cool sound to hear. Just give me a second here to open up my files. Where am I? Nature verbs. There we are. I usually have my files on the other screen and I wasn't able to see them. There we go. Excellent. We're good. To crash. So this is the kind of the opposite of to lap. When huge waves hit the shore, we often use the verb to crash. You can hear the waves crash against the shore. If the wind is over 70 kilometers an hour, it will create waves that crash against the shore. So this is kind of based on the sound and the action. Okay, you can hear waves crash against the shore, and you can see waves crash against the shore. Both, you can say both, and they both mean the same thing. So you can see here this wave has crashed against this rock, to use the past tense, and it's going to crash against the other rock in just a moment. So when waves crash against the shore, they hit the rocks, they hit the shore, they make a loud crashing sound as they do that action. Uh-oh, this picture's not here. What happened? Something's broken. Well, the next slide is similar. So to ribbit and to croak, I like the verb to ribbit, sorry the picture's not here, are both sounds that frogs make. So a frog will ribbit. Ribbit, ribbit. I can't do it. A frog will also croak like I should have practiced my sound effects, but when I go for a walk every morning, I know I'm going to hear frogs ribbiting. They're going to ribbit when I walk by, and I know I'm going to hear bullfrogs. It's kind of a bigger frog, croak. I think this is a bullfrog. You can see this here. Frogs and bullfrogs are both frogs, but I will definitely hear frogs croak and ribbit as I go for my walk each morning. Very common sound. I will also hear, I usually walk by a small stream, and I will hear the water babble. It's under the bridge by my house. There's a small stream. If you think about water, there's like a stream, a river, an ocean. Like a stream is a really small body of water that flows. And if it goes over a few rocks, it will make a nice, pleasing sound, similar to water lapping against the shore. When a brook or stream babbles, it's a nice sound. It's like I'm just gonna let that one sit there. I should have actually found some real sound effects, but you understand what I mean. When water flows over rocks, it makes a beautiful, soothing sound that people really enjoy. To rumble. So last night, I actually heard clouds rumbling in the distance. So it's kind of funny. It refers to thunder, right? There's lightning and then there's thunder. And when you hear thunder in the distance, we often use the verb to rumble. You know, there's a storm coming and the clouds are going to rumble before the storm hits. You'll hear thunder in the distance. You will hear the clouds rumble. Now, I'm saying the clouds are rumbling, and that is what we say, but technically it's lightning creating thunder and you're hearing thunder. The clouds themselves don't really make any noise. The rumbling comes after the lightning. But yes, definitely if you were to see clouds like this on the horizon, you would say, oh, I think those clouds are going to rumble soon. I think we're going to hear some rumbling in just a little while. To crumble. So notice it rhymes with rumble. That's the direction I went. If you look here, you can see that the shore is starting to crumble. You can also use this to talk about like a cookie or something you're eating. When you bite it, little crumbs, little pieces will fall, little crumbs will fall. And we also use it to talk about something like this. The shore is starting to crumble. Pieces are starting to fall off. Pieces are starting to basically fall down, and you're left with this. So this is definitely not a safe place to be, because it looks like the shore is starting to crumble away. It's starting to slowly disappear, and eventually it will be gone. Hey, let's look at some questions here. Just give me a sec to check where I am. Okay, we're doing well. Let me get a new question on the screen. There are a few ready to go, and let me, Ruslan gets the first question. Hello, the most natural teacher, Bob. How are you today, sir? I'm good. I hope you are doing well as well. Do people practice beekeeping in their backyards in Canada? And do you like honey? So yes, I like honey. Little fix there, in their backyards. Some people do. I don't know, like Jen and I are friends with another couple who are also flower farmers, and they have bees. We do not have bees. People have often suggested that we should get bees, but it's not a super common practice, but there are people that do keep bees. And do I like honey? Absolutely. I like honey in my tea. It's very, very yummy. Know that. Hello, Bob. Which sound of nature has the most relaxing effect on you? And which one bothers you the most, apart from the honking of Canadian geese? Thanks, Bob. Anything with water. So the sounds of nature that I find relaxing. I love the sound of waves. I love the sound of like water kind of babbling in a stream. I like the sound of water lapping against the shore. I like the sound of rain. All of those are very soothing for me. What bothers me the most is the sound of a mosquito buzzing close to my ear. That is the sound that I dislike, for sure. Palooka in the chat says, Bob, is it correct to say my stomach rumbles? No, that's true. Like, oh, I'm hungry. My stomach is rumbling, for sure. And then, oh, Denis, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Good use of the word crumble, and a very common phrase. When something goes wrong in life, sometimes someone will just say, well, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Also from Denis, hello, Bob. Would you rather be able to control the weather, talk with animals, or speak all foreign languages? Bob Almighty. Ooh, control the weather would really benefit me as a farmer. Talking with animals wouldn't help me much. Speaking all foreign languages would really benefit me as a YouTuber. Can I say 2? Could I do 1 and 3? Yeah, control the weather would be nice. There is a lot of stress when you are a farmer, when it doesn't rain or when it rains too much or when it freezes too early in the fall. So I think I would choose number 1. I think that would be the most beneficial for me. From Judith, what is the best nature verb to use according to the sun and about the earth? Have a great time. So I would say, like, yesterday the sun was glaring. Like, the light was so bright you had to wear sunglasses. That's a good one for the sun. I think also I'm thinking of the verb to parch. Sometimes when the sun shines for days on end with no rain, the sun will parch the ground. That means to dry the ground out completely. So that one works for sun and earth, doesn't it? But yeah, I'm thinking of a verb for the earth. Yeah, not sure about that one. There's a lot, but we'll let it be at that. We'll use parch for sun and for earth. As in, what are you doing? I am teaching English. I am doing a live stream. I am teaching English to 244 people. By the way, if you're new here, you should click this red subscribe button. I'd be curious to know what you're doing, as in right now. Obviously, you're watching. From the blind author, what's the difference between theme, topic, and unit? So a theme is a general... it's what someone's trying to communicate in writing. So the theme of this lesson is similar to my topic, okay? The theme is nature verbs, but the topic and theme don't always need to be the same. A unit would be a piece of a lesson. So when I teach a class, I teach 8 units over about 4 months. So every 2 weeks, we start a new unit. So it's the same learning, but it's broken up into smaller pieces. Theme and topic could be very similar though. Although a story can have a theme as well, you know. If you read a story about someone in the wilderness, the theme is survival, whereas you wouldn't use topic to talk about a story at all. From Young from South Korea. Hi, Bob. What do you think about the abnormal weather we've been having lately on our planet Earth? So I don't fully understand the weather because I think it moves in cycles. I do know that last year and this year, we have gotten a lot more rain in the summer than what we've experienced in the past. So our first 20 years of farming, 18 years of farming, it would often be quite dry in July, and it would start raining again in the middle of August. Last summer and this summer, it's just rained every week, like it's raining again right now. So I don't know how to respond other than the last couple of years, our local weather has been a bit different. From Possible, hi Bob, in winter, a voice comes through the window. When we wake up in the morning, we find that there is snow everywhere. Do you like those days? Have a great weekend, by the way. I don't mind a snowstorm at night, but as I mentioned, I don't like it when the wind howls. When it's like, it could just really affect my sleep. And as I've mentioned in other lessons, that makes me really, really grouchy. So I love winter. I love snow. I like snowstorms during the day with lots of wind, no problem. Yeah, it is fun though to wake up to a whole bunch of snow outside. From Irfan, hi Bob. I was just watching your videos on phrasal verbs for the 5th time. Good job. Could you tell me the meaning of stereotypes and explain it in detail? So a stereotype would be when you look at a group of people and you assume they're a certain way. Here's a good example. You might think older gentlemen with gray hair are wise. That's a stereotype, okay? Not all people with gray hair are wise. Maybe in their own way they are. But it's when you look at, if you were to say teenagers are all lazy, that's kind of a stereotype because it's not really true, right? Now let me just check here though. I think, because sometimes I think stereotypes are true, for sure. A widely held but fixed and oversimplified image of a group of people or one person. So I think stereotypes are sometimes not true as well. But great question. Let's see here. We're good. I'm going to have a sip of water and we're going to go back to the lesson. Tran says, hi Bob, I'm currently your member, just relocated to Canada. Prince Albert from Vietnam. first live attending. Very cool. Good to have you here. Good to see you in the chat talking. Very cool. Dunga says, hi, teach. I'm from Brazil. Your class is very good. Thank you. And the blind author says, thank you so much for the reply. Have a wonderful day. You too. Okay. I had my sip of water. Let's get back to the lesson. Here we go. To erode. So you'll notice here that there's a lot of water in a field, and it has kind of carried away the dirt with it. As water flows through soil and dirt, it takes the dirt with it, and eventually it will erode the soil. The best thing to do to stop erosion, by the way, is to grow plants. Plants will stop erosion. But whenever you see this, we would use the verb erode. So the water has flowed, and the water, when it flows, it's going to erode the soil. It's going to carry the soil away with it as it flows. To drizzle. This is what it's doing outside right now. There are a lot of different ways to describe rain in English. Sometimes we just say, there's just a mist outside. It's misting. It's drizzling. It's a little harder. It's raining. Harder than drizzling. It's pouring. Then it's really, really raining hard. So to drizzle, sometimes you'll say, oh, it's going to drizzle today. Bring your umbrella because it's going to drizzle all day long. By the way, it's a fun verb to say, isn't it? It's going to drizzle all day long. To gush. It's a fun verb to say as well, to gush. I guess this isn't a really natural picture, but whenever water or another liquid comes out of the ground or out of a cliff, or I guess out of a pipe, I know that's not natural, we can use the verb to gush. There are places in the world where water will gush out of the ground. Probably a great description or use of this word would be when they first drill an oil well, oil will gush out of the ground. It'll just shoot into the air until they cap the well. So you can see here, I'm not actually sure what this is even a picture of, but the water, you would probably say, oh, the other day I was walking down the street and I was able to see water gushing out of different parts of the ground. So when water comes like this, and it can come sideways as well, we use the verb to gush. To wilt. This is sad. This is what happens to a plant when it doesn't get enough water. You could say to someone, if you don't water your houseplants, they're going to wilt. So when they wilt, the leaves droop down. I think I might have used this picture to teach the verb to droop as well. But when you have leaves and you can see the plant's not happy, some of the leaves are brown, it's obviously very thirsty. So if you don't water a plant, it is going to wilt. There's no question about it. It will wilt and then it will eventually die. By the way, if you watered this plant, I guarantee you it would perk up. The leaves would slowly go back up and it would look fine and be healthy again. So when you see a plant starting to wilt, give it a little bit of water and it should be okay. To roar. So I live near Niagara Falls and you can hear the water. When you go to Niagara Falls, you can hear the water roar. So it's like you can it's a constant loud sound. By the way, some animals roar as well. A lion can roar. I'm not going to do an impression of a lion. Yeah, when you go to Niagara Falls, there are so many liters of water going over the waterfall that it actually makes a loud sound. You could hear it roar. And it's pretty cool to go there and to hear it roar. It's probably one of the enjoyable things about seeing Niagara Falls or any other waterfall. It's fun to just to hear the waterfall roar. To glisten. So after it rains, or in the morning if there's a lot of dew is when water forms in the morning, you can see things glisten. We use the verb glisten to talk about something that's wet and shiny. If it rains on your car, the car will glisten a little bit, like it's brighter than normal. If you look at this leaf, it's kind of glistening. It's reflecting lots of light, and it looks really, really cool. So when you say that something is glistening, when you say, oh, it's raining, the leaves on the tree are going to glisten after the rain. I wish I had a camera set up because I can actually see the leaves outside glistening. So a little hard to say, but rhymes with listen. Like you can listen and a leaf can glisten. To buzz. So I did earlier express that I do not like the sound of mosquitoes buzzing. I don't mind the sound of bees buzzing. You can see this bee is hard at work. If you were out there and if the bee's wings were really, you would hear bzzz. You would hear the sound. The bee will buzz as it works. So, yeah, I guess I said I don't mind the sound of bees. I don't like it when I hear wasps. So we have a lot of wasps. Bees usually just fly around and collect pollen or whatever they do. But wasps sometimes will attack. And then I don't like hearing the sound of a buzz. Like if I hear a buzz and it's some wasps, I run the other way. To thrive. When something thrives, it means it is really, really healthy. So you can see that these flowers are thriving. If flowers and plants, if they get a lot of water, and if they're in good soil, and they get sunshine, they are going to thrive. They are going to grow. They are going to produce flowers. They are going to be healthy. The same with children and people. If you feed kids well, they will thrive. They will grow and be healthy and happy. But definitely you can see that the person who's growing these plants took care of them because they wanted them to thrive. They wanted them to grow and be happy and to be healthy. They wanted them to thrive. And then, of course, to bloom. So it's kind of fun because we have a lot of flowers blooming on our farm right now. So a plant will grow. There will be a stem and there will be green leaves. And if it's a flowering plant, eventually it will bloom. Eventually there will be a bud. And when the bud opens, we use the verb to bloom. So you can see here, if you look at the very far side, there's a sunflower that's closed. And in a day or two, as a professional flower farmer, I'm going to say in 2 days, it will bloom. It will open and it will look like these other flowers. And just so you know, we also call that a bloom. So the sunflower is going to bloom and then there will be a bloom. Hopefully that made some sense. Sometimes the verbs work as nouns as well. To tower. If you look in the distance, you'll see mountains in this picture. And these mountains tower over the town below. Whenever we say something towers, we mean that it's really, really tall, okay? So mountains can tower over a valley below. Even large buildings can tower over smaller buildings. And you can sometimes have a tower, like use it as a noun and say that it towers. So you could use a noun verb. The CN Tower towers over the Rogers Center where the Blue Jays play. So hopefully that wasn't too confusing. But to simplify, these mountains tower over this little town. So they're in the distance and they're really tall and they're really, really big. So they tower over the village below. To pool. So when it rains a lot, sometimes the water will pool in places where it normally isn't. What I mean by that is this isn't a pond. This isn't a puddle. This is someone's yard. This is their lawn. And it has rained so much that the water has started to pool in this area. Eventually it will go away, but it's usually a sign that a place has gotten more rain than normal, okay? Here, if it rains for 2 or 3 days, water will start to pool in different places on our property. you'll see water in places where it doesn't normally lay. And so we use the verb to pool. So if it rains a lot, water will start to pool. And again, this isn't the same as a puddle. A puddle is a place where, if it rains for 10 minutes, there's some water in the puddle. This is more like it rained for 2 days and water is starting to pool in different areas. Sometimes not good areas at all. To melt. So obviously when water is really cold, below 0 degrees Celsius, it will freeze. And then if it goes above 0 degrees Celsius, it will melt. So here you can see ice turning into water as it melts. This is actually a bit of a problem in the world right now. As the world changes a bit, we are starting to see things melt that normally don't melt. So when water turns from ice to liquid, when it turns from a solid to a liquid, we use the verb to melt. It's really warm out today. The snow or ice is going to melt later. To emerge. So when you put a seed in the ground and when you water that seed and when it gets some warmth, if the soil is warm enough, it will germinate and then it will sprout. It will emerge from the ground. Sorry, let me get my facts straight here. It will germinate. So it will put out it'll start to grow as a seed under the ground, which is the same as sprouting. And then it will eventually emerge from the ground. For me as a farmer, this is my happiest time after I plant a crop. When the crop starts to emerge, when the plants start to emerge from the ground, I'm very, very happy because it means the seed got enough moisture and it was warm enough that it started to grow, and then eventually it pops out of the ground. Eventually it will emerge from the soil and start growing vigorously. Hopefully it will then thrive. Hey, let's do members only chat. Let me get a sip of water here. I really enjoy doing lessons about nature. I think that's one of my favorite topics. Not always the most popular topic, but that's fine. You know me. I'm always, I don't want to do popular lessons. I just want to do as many lessons as I can. So all the lessons. We're going to go to members only chat. If you don't know what that means, it means that if you are a member, you can ask a question directly in the chat for the next 10 minutes. If you are not a member, stick around, enjoy the conversation. I will get back to the lesson in about 9.5 minutes and we will finish it off. And if you are not a member, you can click below. There's a join button and get information about being a member and what surprises are in store for you if you become a member. Extra lesson every week, a lesson plan on Mondays, your name in green during live streams, and all those fun things, and a little crown beside your name. But hey, let's look at a question here. Let me get it on the screen. Where's my button? There we go. From Hobart. Hello, Teacher Bob. Best wishes for you. Thank you. It's raining outside for a whole day. That looks like a pool from the sky. How to talk in this situation. Thank you in advance. When it rains here for like a whole day or 2 days, probably the most common phrase people say is, do you think it's ever going to stop? Like we start to wonder, like, is it ever going to stop raining? Like, this is a little bit crazy. So that's one phrase you can use, but mostly we just use phrases like, it's raining, it's pouring, it's been raining all day, and those kinds of things. But yeah, sometimes that happens, doesn't it? Sometimes it rains and rains and rains, and it never ever really stops raining. It just keeps on going, and it's a little bit tricky because sometimes water will start to pool in places where it's not supposed to, and you have to be a little bit careful. From Peter. Hi, Mr. Bob. How are you today? I'm good. No question today. Your topic is perfect. Thanks. Have a good day. Yes, I will. Let me just check something here. Peter, I hope you have a good day as well. I do thank you for the greetings. It is a nice Friday here. We're not going to get a lot of work done on the farm today because it is still raining outside. I can see the leaves glistening I can see puddles forming in the driveway. So I think it might be more of an indoor day. Time to do some paperwork and other things. From the chat, from Michael. Hi, Michael. Hello, Teacher Bob. As a plant wilts when it's too dry, what would you call it when a plant suffers from overwatering? So a little switch there. What would you call it if a plant, when a plant suffers from overwatering? We would say it's overwatered, or it's had too much water. Usually a plant will turn yellow and not look very good if it's overwatered. So yes, we would just use overwatering. Like, hey, your plants aren't healthy because you're overwatering them. That would be how I would describe it. From Lolly Lolly, is it possible to use the verb to thrive in a figurative sense? Could you please give an example? Thanks, Bob. I almost always use it literally. Like, you want students to thrive in your class. You want plants to thrive out in the field. You want a business to thrive. Like, if someone starts a new business, you want that business to thrive. You want it to do well. So that's how I would use it. I wouldn't often use it any different way. I use it very practically, very, very literally. From Know That, Bob, regarding the wasps, sorry, I'm having trouble saying, regarding the wasps, when you have a lot of them, do you have a lot of nests on your farm too? Does someone come and remove them for you, or do you do it yourself? We do it ourselves. Honestly, we don't spray very much, but when we have a wasp nest in an area where we need to work, we will spray it to kill the wasps. That's one of the things we will do, because they get so angry and they just come out all hot and bothered and ready to sting everybody. So we would just spray them. From Lolly Sense, got it. Freddie Wolf, mosquitoes are quite annoying. They always make a bad buzz. Yes, I do not like mosquitoes. Like, even just thinking about them, I feel like one is landing on me right now. Lolly Lolly says, thanks for your answer, Bob. No problem. Let's see here. From Key Park, it was pouring almost all this afternoon here. There's much more raining this summer. So you're having a very rainy summer. Yeah. We like rain, but we don't like too much rain. And we're like last summer too, we're kind of right on the border. Like, it's almost too much rain, but then 4 or 5 days go by with no rain, and then we want it to rain again. So it's kind of, yeah, hopefully it doesn't rain too much today. It's nice to have a little bit, but not too much. Know That says, by the way, how was the market yesterday, Bob? Were there many people? I hope your sales went well. We had a great day at market. The forecast was for rain, and it didn't happen. The temperature, it went up to 25 Celsius, which was good because last week it was at 32. So people came out. It was a little slow at first, but at one point Jen left to take some photos, and I was so busy. I was in the flower booth myself selling the flowers. I was so busy. There was a little bit of a line, so that was nice. So we did well. It was a nice day at market. So thanks for asking. Well, that's good. Let's see. Next question from the form is from Adam. Hello, Bob. Do you think Duolingo is good for learning English? I always watch your videos. They help a lot. Thanks. So I think everything is good for learning English, and no one thing is the best. So I would say this. I like to practice my French. I've done Duolingo, I've done Babbel, I've done, what's the other one I did? I can't remember the name. I've hired tutors from Preply. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos in French. I have a French speaking partner. We haven't spoken for a while. I should contact them again. So I think variety is key. So Duolingo isn't either good or bad. It's just one more tool in a wide range of tools. And if you don't like Duolingo, there's a bunch of different apps you can use as well. But certainly no complaints. I enjoyed it. It was fun. I did the whole French tree a few years ago, and I think I've said this before, I should do it again. Know That says, by the way, Know That. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you, Bob. No problem. It's nice to give a market update. Let's see here. From Andy, hi, Bob. Could you explain the difference between regulation and stipulation? They're very similar. A regulation is a little more formal, maybe, or a bigger thing. By the way, a regulation would be something like you must have good tires on your car. That's one of the regulations. It's like a rule. It's like a law. A stipulation we use more when you're making an agreement with someone. So I'm going to work at the school, but one of the stipulations is that I have to wear a shirt with a collar. That could be a regulation too. Yeah, they're very similar. I would look up the definitions of both and see if you can decipher, get some example sentences for you. Because to me, a stipulation is something like, I'm going to work there, but one of the stipulations is I need to drive to work. Like I have to have a car in order to work there. That wouldn't be a regulation. That's a great question. It's tricky, actually. Let's see. Michael says, what I learned about wasps is that if you see the nest, they are friendly and relaxed. If they hide the nest, they are aggressive. It could be, because I don't know how many times I've touched a wasp's nest when working somewhere and then like it's in a little hidden area. Wanda says, hi, Teacher Bob. Is there another name for storm? Thanks. Yeah, we just use storm. Like there's a storm coming. Yeah, we better make sure we have gas for the generator. There's a storm coming in a week or something like that. So yeah, there might be other words, but the most common one is definitely a storm. So, hey, thanks for being members. John Wedge says, hello, folks. And I am going to finish off the lesson. Let's do that. Here we go. Back to, where are we at? Yep, to sway. So trees can sway. Grass can sway. When something sways, it moves gently back and forth. In fact, when you see the wind blowing and it causes the grass to sway, it can also rustle a little bit. Like you can see the grass moving in the wind. You know, a really cool place to see something sway is when a farmer has a field of wheat or barley or oats. When it's almost ripe and it's nice and yellow, it will sometimes sway and make really cool patterns. But yes, to sway means to go back and forth gently like that. Sometimes when you're pulling a trailer behind a car, the trailer will sway. That's not a good thing. To ravage, to pummel, and to lay waste. So sometimes nature is quite harsh. It can do damage. So sometimes you'll hear them say, the storm ravaged the town. The storm ravaged the coast. That means that the winds were so strong that damage was done. You can actually see here that the dirt has eroded under the houses, okay? And the houses have started to crumble. So when a storm ravages a city or coastline, it means that it does damage. The wind is so strong that damage is done by the wind. Usually the wind, the water does damage as well, but it will ravage. To pummel, we use this to talk about like waves can pummel the shore during a storm. The rain can just pummel the building. The wind can pummel. When you pummel, it's like, you can see me making a fist, right? It's like nature. It doesn't necessarily have to cause damage. So that's the difference. If you use ravage, there's damage. If you use pummel, it means it might eventually damage something. But these waves, I would say, are bigger than normal in this photo, and they are pummeling the shore. So the waves are going to pummel the shore all day long and maybe cause some damage. And then to lay waste. So this is when there is like destruction, like beyond just ravaging the coast. If there's just all kinds of houses that have fallen over because of the wind, we would say that the storm laid waste to that town. So you can see here, obviously a tornado or hurricane came through and it laid waste to this area. Everything is severely damaged. So again, sometimes nature isn't nice. It can ravage, it can pummel, and it can lay waste. I have not experienced any of those three. I live in a fairly calm area. We sometimes get windstorms and small tornadoes, but nothing like other parts of the world. To chirp. We go quickly to something a lot more pleasant. Sometimes in the morning, if my window's open, the birds will chirp. I can hear the birds chirping outside. It's sometimes it's enjoyable. Sometimes when I want to sleep in, it's not enjoyable, but usually I don't mind waking up to the sound of birds chirping. The birds, yeah, I'm thinking, I don't think the birds are going to chirp today because it's raining. The birds will probably be sheltering somewhere. But when you hear a bird chirp, it's like, or I think I can do a mourning dove. That's more of a coo, I guess. Birds can coo as well. Anyways, chirp. That's a bad sound. When you go to Niagara Falls, the water will mist, okay? When you drive along Niagara Falls, there's an area where there's just always moisture in the air, because as the water hits and goes over, it will mist. It will cause really, really small water droplets to fly away. So yes, one of the fun things about Niagara Falls is that the water will mist, and then you will have this nice, so on a hot day, it's nice to go to Niagara Falls. There's this nice cool mist all the time. Notice I'm using it as a verb and as a noun. So it will mist. Oh, that's the end of the lesson, apparently. I didn't realize I was that far along. I thought I had more. So hopefully you enjoyed this lesson. I will answer some questions from the forum and chat as we finish this up. I love seeing all the conversation. Mohammed says, hey, Bob, thanks for a lot for everything you do to make English more easy for us. No problem. Very cool. Know that says, this slide reminds me of your lesson on funny sounding verbs, Bob, because the verb, oh, to warble that you explained there. Yes, to warble. John White says the sound effects are the best. I do my best with the sound effects for sure. Let's see here. Question from Levy. Hi, Bob. Sometimes when I'm speaking my native language, that's Portuguese, I continually get some English words in my speech. Why does this happen? What is it? I don't know, except that all of our brains work differently when it comes to languages. I often have it when I hear someone speaking a different language, my brain wants to speak French for some reason. It's kind of a mystery to me. It's like my brain thinks, oh, it's foreign language time, speak French, but the people aren't speaking French. So it's kind of a weird thing. In terms of this, though, I think it just takes discipline. The more time you spend in English, the less that will happen. But it's probably a good sign, right? English is bleeding over into your regular everyday language. So from Ismail, hi, Bob. I've noticed the sound of birds in your videos. Which ones do you usually hear on your farm? And do you have a favorite bird that stops by to sing to you? Thanks. So we have the most common birds. I don't know if these are the sounds you're hearing, but the most common birds are sparrows, swallows, blue jays, cardinals. I do see an oriole every once in a while, mourning doves, pigeons, Canadian geese. And we do have a bald eagle on our property that we hear every once in a while, which is kind of cool because I don't think have been in this area for a long time. I think their population maybe is growing again. But yeah, definitely sparrows are the most common. And then I think we have like chickadees and other little birds as well. But I don't know which ones are the ones that are singing. Hard to say. Ruslan says there is no sound teacher Bob couldn't make. I don't know about that. Shiv Kumar says good evening. Well, it must be evening where you are. It is morning here, and I am almost done. The blind author, could you answer one more question of mine? What's the difference between wilt, wither, and wither away? Thank you so much. So wilt is generally used for plants. When something withers away, it can be almost anything. Like a piece of furniture outside for years will wither away. It will just slowly disappear, like rot and disappear. But wilt, I definitely would use for plants only. Okay. Sabine says, hi, Bob. I'm new here. Your videos are very helpful. Greetings from Germany. Well, good to see you. Glad to see you here. By the way, anyone who's new here, don't forget to click that subscribe button and thumbs up and all that good stuff. Helps my channel do better. and helps me stay happier. That's what we have. Anyways, Louisa says, hi, Bob. You are the best teacher. Thank you very much. Hey, I'm going to wrap this lesson up. Do remember this lesson comes out in a couple days in a shorter version. So I will edit out all of the user viewer questions. And then you can listen to that as a repeat to kind of reinforce what you've learned. Always a good thing to do. In the chat, Know That says, as always, thanks for your time and the great lesson, Bob. I wish you and your family a nice, relaxing Friday and a wonderful weekend. Greetings to Jen and your kids. Take care, Bob. Thanks, Know That. And I wish your family and you the same, for sure. Pierre Horn says, thank you, Teacher Bob. You make English more interesting to learn. Your video is very helpful. Thank you very much. You're welcome. And all of you as well are welcome. I think I'm done the questions. I'm done browsing through the chat. I think I'm going to wrap this up. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to watch again in a couple days. Always a good idea. And I'll see you Tuesday with a brand new lesson. If you didn't see this past week's lesson, it was kind of fun. I taught you things like, is this what I type? I'm not sure. I taught things to say in different situations in life. Oh yeah, there's the Nightbot just put it up. So if you haven't watched that video, I highly suggest you look at the chat, follow the link that Nightbot has just given and give it a watch. What to say when someone has a family member pass away, what to say when someone announces a birth, what to say at a wedding, what to say, I forget all of the topics, but different phrases to use in different situations. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye.